Hello. Okay, so I want to talk about human rights today. Like, human rights in the United States. Basically, we don't have human rights in the United States, or we're, like, really bad. Um, in the United States, we live with unsanitary conditions in prisons, overcrowding, and a system that criminalizes and penalizes people. The goals of the United States is to penalize people and protect us from foreign and domestic threats. But the truth is, the government itself is the threat to the country, and the goals of the government are also a threat to this country by creating unsanitary conditions, denying the right to health care, and discrimination in health care based on race, ethnicity, or our background. We are discriminating against ourselves, and to the point that we're all going to die, or we will die basically in horrible conditions. 1,000 people every 3 months are killed by firearms in the United States, which is a direct product of, or a direct result of the Richard Nixon's administration war on drugs. Created a war on drugs, which then created unsanitary and unsafe conditions, which created the conditions for murder to be prevalent in the United States, both in the United States and Guatemala and across the world. Instead of criminalizing drugs and criminalizing people that are just simply users, people that just want to get high or not feel pain, which is a legitimate cause, we criminalize these people. There's a lack of accountability in the United States for human rights as well. We're not accountable for shooting each other, we're not accountable for unsanitary conditions, and we're not accountable for the goals set by the United States government. Lethal force in other countries has been authorized. This is a war crime. We need to mandate health care for all countries, including our own, and make sure that we have sanitary conditions for our people to live in, where we're not too close together, we're social distancing, we care about each other, and we make sure that everyone has an equal and fair chance to get by, or even strive. Why haven't we made college affordable for people? Why are people spending $300,000 to be educated to learn how to put in an IV or learn basic anatomy or how to remove a skin fold? $300,000 is a bit excessive. This knowledge shouldn't be just for the rich or for the privileged, but for everyone. Russia, for instance, has knowledge. Health care for everyone, school for everyone. In the United States, it's basically just, oh, I ask people, what do you think of human rights? And they say, oh, well, we have more rights than the other country. That was the basic response. But is that accurate? Is that an accurate response? Because it does not seem accurate at all to me. In the United States, we have the right to discrimination in health care. We have the right to unsanitary conditions, and we have the right to be exposed to deadly diseases because our government is not accountable for its actions, has poor goals, and doesn't mandate health care for the United States, and does not care about the United States citizens. The American government is not accountable. What we need to do is decriminalize all drugs. Why? Because tolerance, liberty, because these things will produce a system that doesn't produce unsanitary conditions, that promotes health and welfare of people. So we decriminalize the drugs and we say, you're not a bad person because you have a user problem. Let us help you become a better person. Let us help you not use drugs. We should have the right to health care. It should be a mandate in the United States, and us as American citizens need to stand up and say, this is our voice and we need health care. We need to demand more of our government. We need to demand more and less like Joseph Biden's, and less like Donald Trump's, and less like what is out there. And we need to demand more of what is in us. The very common sense that we know as a people to give our people what they deserve. A chance to be educated, a chance to be healthy, a chance to live a good life. People are going to die no matter what we do, but how we treat each other in our lives while we're here matters. And I hope that other people stand up against their government, not by violence or protests, but by using our voice and our knowledge, by going to writing in forums, writing emails, writing letters, and using our voices to make an actual change. Because violence is the answer. Using your voice is. Knowledge is power. I hope that people find this video inspirational. And I hope that people take from this that we need to mandate healthcare. And that we need to legalize all drugs. And I hope that someday the world changes for a better place. And that we don't have to live with these human rights violations. Slowly they're taking away our right to women's health care. They're taking away abortion. Okay, so what are you going to do with all the children that are here? Because you didn't abort them. You know, because you're creating a system that basically isn't taking care of these people. And you say, oh, it's not my responsibility. Well, you're creating the problem. You know, rather than putting in preventative measures like, hey, here's a free Mirena paid for the government. You know, why don't we choose birth control as the option? Let's talk about women's rights. Soon we won't have any rights. We won't have any health care at all. We won't have any right to anything. We will have zero rights in this United States. This place makes me sick. It makes me want to leave and go to another country that appreciates life and appreciates the well-being of its people. I don't appreciate being lied to by my government either. Telling us we don't need N95 masks during a pandemic. What kind of government does that? Oh, you want to protect yourself? You knew a pandemic was coming, and you were warned years ago, and yet you still did nothing to put in pandemic protocols. You don't have pandemic protocols at the airport. What about SARS, MERS, Ebola? What about our future pandemics? And as a people and a citizen of the United States, I don't feel protected by you. I feel afraid. I feel afraid that if I say something wrong, that the government will come after me. The government will chastise me. I mean, hell, they're already running into my car. You know, they already torture me in the United States. They already have authorized torture. Soon I'll have a chip in me. But yes, I'm afraid. You don't have any pandemic protocols. Do you have quarantine for 2 weeks?